When I was a little girl, my great-grandmother, Karrie, my namesake, she went to a Baptist church. She explained to me all about the church and Jesus, and I truly, truly loved going to church and Sunday school, and I really loved the Lord. And then when I started to become a teenager, things got crazy, like it does with a lot of teenagers, and I definitely was like a wild child. At that time, I know that God was always with me, but I really wasn't with God. I kind of shut that part of my life out completely. Almost my entire family are, non-practicing. Some say Christians, some say atheists. I worked with all people that were like atheists. No one really talked about God. Then I had several crises in my family. One of them was my father had committed suicide. Truly at the time, I just felt like it was just more of an example of how there was nothing out there for me. The faith that I had as a child, I didn't understand it. That's the way I went. I was really an atheist. I would say I was an atheist. And then on my 35th birthday, we went to Paris, and we walked into Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, and I just knew God was there. And it was so beautiful. Just the ritual, the holy water, the candles, the kneeling, the posturing, the windows, and that's really what really changed my feelings. It was at that moment that I began to decide that I wanted to learn more about the Catholic faith. It took me a long time though, it took me about 7 years. Certainly the best thing that's ever happened to me. The Catholic faith is, to me, so very, very beautiful. On the outset, that's what attracted me, but truly what kept me is the great history of the Catholic faith. I mean, if you love history, which I do, there is no more history. It's a church that Jesus Christ created. It's a wonderful, wonderful faith. The folks on the team were just great. I really got some nice friendships. Our leader, the priest, Father Alberto Tamayo, he was awesome. Down to earth and just so in love with God that it just exuded from him. I found out when I went to RCIA that these church people, they were awesome. They were just like you and me. They were just fun and loving, and they loved Christ. And it's just a totally warm experience. They really encouraged me through the RCIA process. RCIA was twofold. There was a Monday night session where we would talk about the basic nuts and bolts of Catholicism, the church, traditions, the Bible, who's who. We'd also have something called Breaking Open the Word on Sundays. And that's where we'd actually go to church, we'd go into Mass, but we'd have to leave in 20 minutes. And at that point, we would go out and discuss the gospel and how it applied to each of us in our lives, in our daily lives. Both parts were important. The Monday night gave me the facts, but the Sunday breaking open the Word helped me to actually understand, what in this crazy daily secular life that we live, how do we apply Jesus today? For me personally, part of my journey was that I needed to know facts. I needed answers to questions. I didn't go into RCIA thinking, I want to be a Catholic today. I said, I'm going to investigate this, and if I find that it works for me, I will do it. One time, very early on in RCIA, there was a person there discussing prayer. So I started going to my Catholic church by my work, and I would go there every day on my lunch hour, and I would pray. One time, something happened. My entire life just came to me, almost like they say when you die, your whole life flashes in front of your eyes. And it was like everything that had ever happened, the pains and the things that I was sorry for, and everything just happened at 1 second. I was crying. It just seemed unbelievable. And then at the same time, I truly felt that God was with me. And it was really my beginning of my devotion to Mary, because honestly, prior to that, I only saw her at Christmas in a nativity scene, But truly, I felt her presence, I felt her warmth, I felt the warmth and the love of a mother. I felt God being with me and saying, it's all okay. And I knew at that instance, there was no way I could turn around. It would be like saying a lie if I didn't go on and become Catholic. I had to. My life has been so wonderful ever since. My husband was a total rock for me. He never questioned me why I was doing it. And every Monday night I'd come home and I'd tell him all about what we studied. And he was a cradle Catholic, so he would be like, what, really? It was things that he didn't even learn as a child, or maybe things he forgot. But we were kind of going through it together. He really didn't have any inkling that he would go back to church. He was just listening to me and happy for me that I was happy. At that time, I had gotten a devotion to Our Lady, and I would pray to her. Not necessarily for the conversion of my husband, but just for him to see what I saw. I wanted us two to be a family, because I knew that so often religion can split people if they don't all agree on the same thing. I felt our love was strong enough and that we could probably withstand it, but I would still pray to Mary anyway for our intercession. The week or week and a half before my confirmation, my husband came to me and said, I want to go see Father Al. I want to make a confession. I haven't been to church for 30 years. I want to take the Eucharist with you. It was really beautiful. It brought my marriage even closer than it had been. We are married 24 years, and I could love someone even deeper than I had loved them before because of the faith. I've been Catholic now, I guess 2 years. I really do feel like I'm in a love affair. It's that feeling like you have when you first have a love, where you just can't wait to see them, and you can't wait for them to call you. You just love to be with them. For example, you have to go to Mass on Sunday. Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to spend your time with Jesus? I feel secure in myself, because even if someone else doesn't think I'm smart or whatever, I know in His eyes I am, and I'm loved, and I'm forgiven. So I had a lot of questions, things about, what about those crusades, and what happened to Joan of Arc, and those things really did bother me, and I actually did have to get some of those questions answered. I was concerned about, popes, and why did they go to Avignon, France, when they left Rome? There was some historical things that I needed answered. As far as what the church teaches, it makes complete sense. As a person that came from a secular background, at times a pretty crazy, upbringing. Before I had faith, I didn't understand what the abortion issue was. I had no problems understanding because I was taught why. Someone didn't just say, well, we just don't believe in abortion. Explain why. Because that's all human. Because God has your hairs counted on the top of your head, and He knows everything about you. People don't want to knock down trees, and they want to save whales, but they don't mind anything about killing babies. It's a very odd situation. But again, being ignorant and not really understanding the full story. And I think that's kind of what people need to know about RCIA and about the Catholic faith. I think that you have to, go with a critical eye, listen, read, learn, do everything you can possibly do. Get all the information and then decide. But if you truly get all that information and you read all that information and you hear it and absorb it, I think that you'd come to the same decision. It is just like they say, it's the fullness of the faith. Now that I became Catholic, I have every relationship in my entire life is just so much better. My faith has made me understand people a little bit better and forgive people. I have a better relationship with everyone. And truly, I am the only one that really changed. But what happened on the side was that I got this giant church family that I didn't even expect to have. And they're just so awesome. I just thought, I don't know, that I would go to church and I would have, God in my life and that would be it. But it's not like that, I have a problem, there's something going on, or someone else has a problem. We're all scurrying to help each other. We're praying for each other.